Can we really trust a robot to see our world? I mean, not in some sterile, perfect lab, but in our actual, messy, unpredictable homes. That is the big question we are diving into today. And believe me, the answer is a whole lot more complicated than you might think.
We all have this picture in our heads, right? Probably from the movies. Robots just gliding effortlessly through our houses. But the reality? Oh, it's so much messier. There's this huge gap between the world we want a robot to see and the world it actually experiences through its sensors. Okay, so this is the dream. This is what we're shooting for. Crystal clear vision. The robot sees every couch, every doorway, every stray shoe on the floor. This is the baseline, the perfect world that honestly most AIs are trained on. But what happens when reality decides to show up? Well, what if the robot is moving kind of fast? All of a sudden, its entire world looks like this, a streaky, motion-blurred mess. Good luck telling a chair apart from a table now. That perfect picture? Yeah, it's already starting to fall apart. Now let's throw another wrench in the works. Imagine it's getting dark, or you've just got one dim lamp on. The robot's vision gets super dark, super grainy. All the important details just vanish into the shadows. Is that a hallway or just a dark corner? The AI is left guessing. And sometimes, the problem is almost comically simple. A single smudge on the lens, a speck of dust, maybe a stray hair. And just like that, a huge chunk of its world is, poof, gone. A total blind spot. These are the real failures we need to get ahead of.
So to really get this, we need to dig into how a robot's senses can get corrupted. We're talking about its eyes, which is the camera, and also its sense of 3D space, its depth perception. That's how it knows how far away things are.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got that perfect, clean view. And on the right, same scene, but it's like the lens got splattered with some rain or covered in dust. It's not a complete blackout, but that constant visual noise can totally throw off an AI that's trying to figure out what it's looking at.
And trust me, it's not just one or two things. The list of potential problems for a standard camera, an RGB camera, is long. You've got motion blur from moving too fast, lens flare from bright lights, things being out of focus. You can even have a total sensor failure. Every single one of these is a brand new way for the robot to get hopelessly lost. But here's the kicker. Seeing a flat picture is one thing, but to actually move around in a room without crashing into everything, a robot needs depth perception. It has to understand distance and shape. And you guessed it, that sense can get corrupted too. So on the left is a clean depth map. Basically, blue means far away, red means close. Pretty simple. But look at the right. It's been hit with what scientists call Gaussian noise. Just think of it like random static from the sensor. All of a sudden, all the distances are fuzzy, unreliable. The robot might think a wall is 5 feet away when it's really right there.
And here's another way it can all go wrong. The depth info can get quantized. The best way to think about this is like swapping your 4K TV for a super old, low-resolution one. You lose all the fine detail. A perfectly smooth floor might look like a bunch of chunky steps, which makes moving precisely, well, pretty much impossible.
Okay, so it's not just the robot's own senses that are the problem. The information we feed it can be just as shaky. So what happens when the instructions we give a robot are confusing? Or even worse, what if they're designed to make it fail?
I mean, check this out. To you and me, both of these instructions mean the exact same thing. But one uses simple words like big clock, while the other gets fancy with prominent timepiece. If an AI was only trained on one of those styles, the other one might as well be in a totally different language. And it gets even weirder from there. What if we yell at it with all caps for emphasis? Does that help? Or does the AI just see a bunch of brand new words? Or what if we start taking out words that seem unimportant? Can the AI still piece together the main command? This is how you test the absolute limits of its understanding.
But this is where things go from, oops, the robot is a little confused, to the robot is actively dangerous. These aren't just mix-ups anymore. They're malicious. This is what's called an adversarial attack, where someone is trying to trick the AI into ignoring its own safety rules and literally drive into walls. This is a massive security risk.
So you look at all this: corrupted vision, wonky depth perception, confusing language, malicious attacks, and you have to ask yourself, how on earth can we even begin to build a test that covers all these failures? How do we know if a robot is actually trustworthy?
Well, that's exactly where this thing called NavTrust comes in. You should think of it as the ultimate obstacle course for navigation AIs. It's like a standardized gauntlet that's specifically designed to find these exact weak spots and measure just how bad they are.
So what is NavTrust really? The key thing is that it's a benchmark that's built to be mean. It doesn't just test the AI on perfect, clean data. No, it systematically throws every single kind of corruption we've just talked about, bad vision, glitchy depth, confusing language, right at the AI just to see where it finally breaks.
And this really pulls it all together. You can see how complete this test is. On the left, you've got all the ways its vision can be messed with. In the middle, the depth sensor errors. And on the right, the whole spectrum of language problems. It is a total top-to-bottom stress test.
Okay, so we can now reliably find all the ways an AI can fail. That's a huge step. But how do we actually fix it? Let's walk through 4 key strategies for training robots that can actually handle the messiness of the real world.
Here's the game plan. Data augmentation, teacher-student distillation, adapters, and LLM fine-tuning. These are a few different approaches from kind of a brute force method to something a lot more surgical. So let's break them down.
First up is data augmentation. This is the most intuitive idea. If you want a robot to be good at navigating a messy world, you've got to train it on messy data. It's that simple. You just show it thousands and thousands of blurry, dark, and corrupted images until it learns to see through the noise. You're basically preparing it for reality by making that reality part of its homework.
Strategy number 2 is called teacher-student distillation, and the name is actually a perfect description. You take an expert teacher AI that's already gone through all that tough training on messy data, and you have it guide a newbie student AI. The teacher shows the student how to make smart moves, even when its sensors are freaking out, passing on its hard-earned wisdom.
Now, strategy 3 is all about being smart and efficient. See, retraining a whole AI from scratch takes a ton of time and a ton of money. So instead, you add these small, specialized modules called adapters. They do the heavy lifting of learning how to deal with corrupted data, while the main AI gets to stay untouched. It's kind of like giving your robot prescription glasses instead of performing eye surgery.
And finally, we've got a strategy just for that tricky language problem. Here, you use a whole separate safeguard AI. Its only job is to intercept instructions, sanitize them, clean up anything confusing or malicious, and then pass a simple, clean command to the navigation AI. Think of it like a translator and a security guard all rolled into one.
And we really have to remember why all this work is so critical. This is not just some academic puzzle about getting a robot to find a coffee cup in a simulation. This is about building the fundamental foundation of trust for AIs that are going to be operating in our homes, in our self-driving cars, and even in our hospitals.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. When one of these AIs eventually fails out there in the real world, and it will, who's really to blame? Is it the unpredictable, messy world itself? Or is it the engineers who knew that mess was coming, but maybe didn't prepare the AI well enough to handle it? It's something to think about.